Greetings, people. It's Jared here, Wolfgang1, back to do another Transformers review. Now, this week, what I wanted to do was a figure that I've not reviewed for the better part of a decade, and I just wanted to close the year out with something that was an absolutely abhorrent, rancid piece of shit. And I've not touched the figure since I moved into this place in 2019, and I picked up the figure, and one of the parts is missing, and I cannot explain it whatsoever. So instead, I've had to settle for another figure that I'm going to close the year out. This will be the last review of 2023, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in 2024 with more fun and shenanigans. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy, with a cup of tea, sit down, relax, the review for Transformers Generation 1 Sunstreaker. Right, so here is Sunstreaker in his box. This isn't an original box before anyone gets massively excited. This is a reproduction box that I bought for a few quid off eBay. In fact, this Sunstreaker itself is what I can only describe as probably like a massive hodgepodge of various parts and everything like that. And I bought the figure back in 2009 or something like that, and I think it cost me like 10 quid on eBay. And then I managed to pick up various little parts that belonged to the figure because obviously it was fucking incomplete. So just to get on right now, the figure is either an 84 or 85, because there was no... You'll find knockoffs of this, not official reissues, because Hasbro's mould was damaged or lost or anything like that, so you'll only ever find knockoffs that have been like sort of reverse engineered. So this is a 84 or 85 Sunstreaker with a modern day reproduction box. Well, I say modern day, I've had the box about 10 years or whatever as well. Then we've got... I'll show you some of the things that Sunstreaker comes with. I've got this instruction booklet, which was from the 1989-1990 Classics release, the Europe Classics releases, which was Prowl, Sunstreaker, Wheeljack, Silverbolt, Ironhide, and a couple of others. I can't remember exactly who. So the instruction booklet is from the Classics range. I've got the 1984 product sheet just here for him. We've all seen this 1,000 times. There we are. One tech spec decoder, just like that, for the back of the box, which I'll come on to in a minute. He's supposed to come with 3 of these missiles. I've only got 1 for some reason. I did have all 3, but as the beginning of this review would have highlighted, I seem to be on a losing parts kick at the moment. It's driving me absolutely fucking mad. So he's supposed to come with 3 of those. I've only got 1 for the purposes of this review. He comes with 2 of these rocket things that sit on his shoulder that are supposed to be rocket booster things. They serve no function at all apart from aesthetics. They're very, very loose in the holes, but I know that these are original parts. I don't think when I bought Sunstreaker, I don't think the knockoff version was available. So yeah, there's 2 of those, and he comes with plug-in left and right fists. So no handheld weapon to speak of. They just plug in. So yeah, so those are the parts. Shit. So Sunstreaker in his box. There's no real point in me keeping the boxes, if I'm perfectly honest with you. There is no point in it, but there is just something absolutely wonderful about anytime I want being able to take one of my G1s out of the shelf and putting it in a either an original or a reproduction box, and just displaying it like that for like a couple of months before I put it back. For some reason, I find that absolutely endearing. I don't know why. There's nostalgia isn't a factor because I didn't own Sunstreaker as a kid, but there we are. You could just say it's the ramblings and musings of a man who's getting very, very old, far too old to be still collecting this tripe. So yeah, so the box is in great condition, even though it's a reproduction. You've got the familiar 84 battle scene on the back. You've got the tech specs down here, of which you would use the decoder and see all of Sunstreaker's various stats, just like that. I mean, these boxes are so good. They even come with the old robot points that you were supposed to cut out and send off for Transformers giveaways and things like that. The attention to detail there is pretty impressive. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get Sunstreaker out of his box and then take a look at the figure itself. Okay, here is Sunstreaker along with a cat hair. That's very, very, very handy. I can't get rid of it. Fuck it, doesn't matter. So yeah, Sunstreaker in his alt mode, he turns into a souped up Lamborghini Countach. You'd never see one of these on the road. I think this the artistic license with this, quite frankly. Mine's got a couple of strange scratches on the windshield that up until the point where I started doing this review, I never ever noticed those. So that's good. I try to keep this in as good a condition as possible, but you know, the years are catching up with them, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to stand him next to his brother Sideswipe, who is a Hasbro reissue. I'll come and do Sideswipe's review again at some point, because as much as I love the Sideswipe figure, this one, despite it's supposed to be a reissue, there are faults with it, but I'll come to that when I do its review. Or check back and see the other review that I did for it. It's up to you. So yeah, so there's stark differences between these molds. For a start, they're two totally different molds. They're supposed to be the same type of vehicle, but Sunstreaker sits far lower than Sideswipe does. This back is just an absolute mess. It's supposed to be this turbo engine thing that he's got here, but the alt mode does kind of look a little bit messy as a result. Not as clean as Sideswipe. Also, back in the day, I don't think that they would have got licenses to do these vehicles, so really there is a little bit of a certain amount of cheek being taken there. But there we are. So Sunstreaker has got a metal section just here. Sideswipe is back there, but the metal section is just here, and that's the only metal in the figure. But thanks to that die-cast metal, there is a little bit of weight to the figure. Years and years ago, I got a whole bunch of Rep label stickers, and I gave this guy a proper clean-up. So he, well, mostly apart from the glue just there. Let me bring that forward. Apart from the glue from the previous sticker just there, this sticker's seen better days, even though that is brand new. Yeah, and it has these strange red bits here for some reason. I would have thought they would have been yellow, but I guess not. A little bit of paint chipping on the forward section of the bonnet of the wheel arches just there, which this is one of the reasons you can tell it's original, and by how fucking loose it is. There's a section I remember taking off this underside panel just here years and years ago when I was trying to fix up Sunstreaker, and I ended up taking off one of his legs. I did a little bit of work to it, and I put it back together and everything like that. And ever since then, trying to get this leg section out has always been a little bit tricky. The transformation process, which I'll come on to a little bit, it requires you to slide these out to the sides, and you always feel like you're going to break it. It doesn't matter whether or not this was a brand new figure or not. I probably would have felt like I was going to break it when I was if I'd have had it as a kid. Despite the fact that, you know, obviously I didn't have it, I had Sideswipe, but you know, having this as an adult collector does give me a certain amount of satisfaction. Because one, as I said, Sunstreaker was never reissued, with the exception of the classics one back in 89, 90 or something like that. But by that stage, the line was starting to wear out a little bit. Focus, you fucker. Honestly, every fucking week. So yeah, that would have been the only official reissue you would have had back then, is the classics range. So this actually might even be the classics version, although I doubt it. I don't think there was too many of them in circulation by the time the line was starting to wind down. I'm pretty confident this is either an 84 or an 85 version. It's, you know, it is what it is. I mean, it's surprising, you know, it's probably 39 years old. And it's in remarkable condition for its age, I've got to say. It really is, despite the fact, you know, loose parts or anything like that. The fact that this still exists after 39 years, I think is rather fantastic. So yeah, not a hell of a lot more to say about this. One thing I will say, where the masterpiece, I think, very much trumps the original, is the fact that there's a transformation process where you can either hide or display the souped-up engine blocks to give Sunstreaker that little bit of individuality from Sideswipe. But yeah, so we're going to take this guy to robot mode for what it's worth. So we're going to start off by pulling out the front of the car. I will point out now, there we go. I will point out now that, you know, Sunstreaker never had a remold or anything like that. So his transformation process, much like Wheeljack, is entirely, and much like Jazz, is entirely personal to him, if you see what I mean, like relates to him. So we're going to, so we pulled out the front of the car. Then we're going to do these forward sections just here. So we want to start, we basically want to wiggle these sections out, and you can see that one goes very, very easily. This one, you have to apply a little bit of force, and that's a plastic hinge, like sort of a plastic part attached to the metal just here. So I kind of feel like this is always going to break, which is ridiculous. If it hasn't done by now, it probably won't do. Although, having said that, the last thing I expected was for my hose head figure to die on fucking camera when I did that review. So try to get that out. Come on, you fuck. There we go. Right. So now we've done the full section of the car. We're just going to pull those sections up like that. And that will be his rather chunky feet. Okay. Then, let's bring the camera up a little bit. Then this back panel will come down like this. And then you fold out these sections, which will eventually form the arm. So for this bottom one, you've got to bring it up a little bit. Or, better yet, poke your finger through the back. Why does this one always get stuck? Nowhere for it to get stuck to. There we go. Right, so pull that out and then fold that out. And then this entire front assembly, just like this, you want to bring this up like this. The Diaclone cockpit section, you want to push back through that gap, bring the chest down like this, and then this back panel, the black back panel, will fold up and then clip very nicely into place, just like that, okay? Which gives that a very, very clean transformation, a clean back, just like that. Can't do fuck all with the spoiler, but who cares? Then we're going to bring these sections around and then down, out and to the sides like this. Angle him a little bit if you want. Give him his left and right fists, like this. One like that. Stick these rocket booster things that I mentioned into the tops of his shoulders, just like that, for no reason. And then finally fold back this section to reveal the head. And there, ladies and gentlemen, we have Generation 1 Sunstreaker in all his very, very awkward glory. Now, he has simian arms, monkey arms here, which the same thing was accused of Generation 1 Wheeljack. So the proportions for the robot mode are seriously, seriously off. Hasn't got a crutch of any description. He's just got his chest, forms a bit of a belly into his legs. It kind of looks a little bit like me, actually. I would say there's chest, belly, legs. You know, as I said, there are limitations to the robot mode. I guess those limitations are from, you know, how do you turn a car into a robot? But there we are. For the most part, despite the fact the arms are too long, I mean, if I bring the arms down, if I bring these arms down, there we go. His arms go past his knees massively. It's not pretty, really, is it? Having said that, however, I mean, if he's wonderful. If I take his hand out, I give him his little missile, just like that. As I said, because he hasn't got a handheld weapon. That's him for attack mode. But let's get rid of that. Let's put his hand back in. I prefer the hands, to be honest. Despite the limitations of the figure and the limitations of the engineering and everything like that, he is fantastic. He's a wonderful, wonderful little toy. In fact, if I can bring this closer, focus would be nice. Look at the head sculpt there. Absolutely wonderful. The paint job as well. No issues whatsoever. I think that is some exceptional work. So we're just going to transform Sideswipe just here. Just to get him standing next to his brother. And there we are. So even though Sideswipe is technically the fatter vehicle, Sunstreaker is the taller robot, which is interesting. Yeah, get him out to one side. So despite, there are limitations with the mold, but you can't deny that there is a lot of fun to be had there. And is it nostalgia? Yes, quite possibly. Quite possibly it is nostalgia. Although, obviously, not. I wouldn't say necessarily for me because I never had it as a kid. But there's something incredible about that. There really is. If you haven't got a Generation 1 Sunstreaker, it doesn't hurt to pick one up, quite frankly. Go for the knockoffs. I don't suppose there's any massive difference between them and the original. But yeah, one of the pieces in my collection that I'm very fortunate to own, despite the fact that it hasn't aged massively well. It hasn't aged as well as, say, G1 Prime or maybe G1 Jazz or anything like that, or the Hoist Trailbreaker mold or anything like that. Despite the fact it hasn't aged as well as the others, he is still, I'd say, pretty cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this review. This is Gerald Gavin Barry, also known as Wolfgang1, saying I really did want to close the year out with a review that was a proper piece of shit figure. But I'm either going to have to try and find the parts that are missing, or actually just go ahead and rebuy them. So I will do that review at some point in the near future. But this will be the last review for 2023. So we'll be back next year, 2024, and I think we'll start taking a look at another G1 combiner, perhaps the G1 Terracons. So that'll be 5 or 6 weeks worth of reviews just there. Yeah, do hope you enjoyed this. I do hope you have a wonderful Christmas, wonderful New Year. This is Gerald Gavin Barry, also known as Wolfgang1, saying take care.